Hi, I'm Kat, marketer turned brand storyteller.
And I'm Candice, educator turned entrepreneur.
And you're listening to
Not Nice, Clever.
As CEOs and leaders, it's your job to always have the answers, but sometimes you need a little help. Leverage, if you will. We get it. This is the place for you.
So wherever you're listening, 5:30 a.m. club at the gym, on your way to your next meeting, or putting out today's fire, let's get into it.
On today's episode and the first episode of the new year at Not Nice Clever, we are broadcasting an open letter to all of the introverts in our clever crew listening who are afraid to stand out. So if you are an introvert, if you are part of this community, Candice and I are also introverts. We see you, we hear you, we feel you, and we wanted to craft a letter just for you to kick off the new year. So, Candice, what do we want to say first?
I want to say that there is no limit to what you can accomplish as an introvert. And I think that there's a story that we tell or society tells about what it means to be an introvert, that we are shy and quiet and meek and all of these things that are actually not true.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope the clever crew gets from our episode today is that there's opportunity for everyone, even and probably especially introverts. And that's what I hope we talk about today.
Yeah. And I think this goes back to even why we named this podcast Not Nice, Clever, because I think another descriptor that a lot of people use when talking about introverts is that they're quiet and they're nice and they're just pushovers and they could never lead a team or lead a company or they could never be the life of a party. And I don't know if y'all have ever attended a party with Candice and I. When we get going, like we are off to the races and we are certainly not quiet and we are in our element, right?
As long as I've had 24 hours prior to get myself in the mental state. But yes, it's possible.
Well, yes. And of course, when we walk into the room, we each are able to find each other's safety blankets and then cling to one another until somebody approaches us and starts the conversation. And then we're totally good. We're good.
Exactly. And so I actually was with a friend yesterday and she listens to our podcast. She was like, so I was listening to this episode and you're talking about how you're an introvert, but like, I don't see it, because we were, chatting it up yesterday.
I hear that all the time.
And they're like, and you have a podcast and you talk about everything. And I think that the real definition of introvert has to do with how you recharge. Like being with people does not increase my energy. It does decrease my energy. But energy management is huge for introverts. And once you learn how to manage your own energy and you learn the patterns, then you are able to show up for a period of time and share your thoughts and your ideas and banter with people. And it doesn't mean that we are shy. It just means that we have to mentally prepare ourselves for the situation that we're walking into. And if you have identified as an introvert, and you've been leaning on that as a crutch, we hope that 2024 is a year where you say, I know that I have something to share. I know I have a unique perspective. I know I have unique talents and gifts, and I'm going to recognize how I am best equipped to share them and make that plan for yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's important for introverts to remember that there's no one size fits all. Like Candice, you have different rituals and routines leading up to traveling, leading up to speaking than I do. But the beauty is in figuring out what routine and ritual supports you the most so that when you do get to be on in front of people, you are like 100% on and you're not half-assing it. Because I don't know about you, I've never met an introvert that half-asses anything because they're very intentional and precious and protective of their time and their energy because it takes a while to recharge. And so if you can figure out what your routines and rituals look like, then you can show up to that event or show up to that party, be yourself, and then go crawl back into your cave and be a hermit or go get a massage or get a manicure or pedicure. Whatever unwind self-care routine you need to recharge, then you get to do that. And honestly, like most of the introverts that I have met are extremely intuitive and empathetic people. And I love that about them and I love that about myself and I love that about you because I feel like the ability to read people and to read a room and to know where someone's at is something that extroverts can hone their craft around, but it is not a natural gift for them. They're more performers and like in the spotlight, right? And they like thrive on the performing. Introverts are like, okay, what's the lay of the land? What's going on?
Yeah.
Like what are these things that I'm feeling and hearing, like what's up with this, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that the more information an introvert has about a room that they're going into, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what I think is really, really key. And you might not know right now what you need because maybe you haven't put yourself in enough situations where you know you're going to be uncomfortable. But I think for Kat and I, we've had to, for work and other things, be in situations that maybe we wouldn't naturally put ourselves in. But that has allowed us to recognize what it is that we need. So things that I'm still working on, haven't perfected, but making sure that when I travel, I have at least half the day the next day with no meetings, right? Like I need at least the morning to just unpack and work
Decompress.
out and
Yeah.
just like get back into a flow, like get groceries, okay? Like those types of things that I know I need to do for myself to feel better and then be able to get back in it. So when you start doing it, even through the discomfort, you'll recognize ways that you can make it easier for yourself in the future.
And here's another really cool aspect of being an introvert that like I think is undersold. So we know like this is what the data shows and the studies show that for creativity to thrive, for a human being to be creative and to be curious, which is where the magic happens, right? You come up with a solution, you think of an invention. Creativity requires space and requires quiet and requires solitude to thrive and to be nurtured. It does not thrive in a crowded room. It does not thrive in a cluttered calendar. And because the natures of introverts thriving when they're by themselves, I love my alone time. Like, don't get me wrong, Candice, I absolutely love being around you and working with you, but I also love my alone time.
Of course.
And my best ideas come from that. How many times do I randomly just send you something like a random text message or an email? I'm like, here, we should try this. Or here, I thought of this. And you're like, oh, okay. All right. Well, let's talk about it.
Totally.
That happens when I'm by myself. And the fact that because of how your energy is and how you're wired, you get to be more creative than other people who are different than you is so cool. And I think it's undersold because there's no witnesses to it. So it somehow is not as cool or as important as being like the most popular person in the room or at the event or at the company. But that's a misnomer.
And you could still be the most popular person in the room. We've been the most popular people in some rooms.
We have.
But
well, and they come to us. Yeah,
yes,
thank you.
Yes. So I want to recognize that as well. And so when we say that, I think that there is strategy behind how we share. So we have a podcast that lets us sit in our houses where we are comfortable.
I'm by myself, y'all.
Right? And one day we will have a studio and that'll be just like, that'll feel like a second home for us.
Exactly.
But right now, while we are across the country from one another, we get to, in the comfort of our own home, share our thoughts and our ideas and what we're passionate about and our successes and our failures all in one spot. And I just feel like I'm talking to my friend Kat, but you feel like you've been on this journey with us because you're listening in. And so one thing that we always talk about on Not Nice Clever is how we feel about leverage. And a podcast is creating leverage because I don't feel depleted right now because I'm home and I'm comfortable and I'm talking to my friend. And content is also leverage. So when you're thinking about short form videos or perhaps YouTube videos, like those you often get to do in your own environment where you're very comfortable and you still get to share in hundreds.
There's my corner.
Kat
That's where I record. If you see the video, right? Like literally right behind me is where I do my recordings. That's it.
She has her ring light set up and she's, in her comfy chair and she is showing up with her thoughts, ideas. And that is great for introverts. That is a huge opportunity that you have this year and beyond, is to be comfortable and hit record. Like be in an environment where you're comfortable and hit record and not be drained because perhaps there's no one else in the room. And so that is really, really key. And we hope that this year is a year for you to be excited about standing out and know that standing out means that you'll have even more opportunity than you've ever had. And recognizing what it is that you want to share with the world. What are you uniquely positioned to share?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I hope for you in 2024, all you introverts out there. And I hope that Kat and I have the courage to continue to share with you all in the new year. Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice, Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, your not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.